It is March 14th, and it has been a long week, but we are here to keep you informed. We are giving you the facts, not fear, hopefully providing you some levity here this morning as well. You are up on the bright side with us. I'm Josh Sidorowitz. Good morning. You might even hear some noises here because we're doing a little bit of our own deep cleaning in the newsroom here this morning. Remember, if you have got questions, you can text the word facts to the number that you see right here on your screen. We are going to send you a link to answer some of your biggest questions. New this morning, while you were sleeping, state health officials have confirmed a third Floridian has died from COVID-19, a 68-year-old woman from Orange County. She tested positive for the virus after traveling to Asia. She was in California, though, after testing positive, and that is where she died. You can add that to 25 new confirmed positive cases here in Florida, bringing the total number of COVID-19 cases to at least 70. Several of those are travel related. Now, a coronavirus economic relief package could get final approval in Congress as soon as Monday. A planned break is now canceled so the U.S. Senate can vote to approve that package. It'll provide free coronavirus testing, sick pay for workers, and resources for food programs. This comes after President Trump declared a national emergency Friday, which frees up money and resources to help fight this pandemic. And this is all in addition to the more than $8 billion in federal funding approved by Congress last week. The White House has also ordered millions of test kits. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, he says about half of the more than 2,000 kits he has requested for our state have already arrived here. He says those tests will be distributed to certified labs throughout the state here so they can speed up this process. We begin this morning with a 10 News alert. Less than 24 hours after tragedy in Texas this morning, this time it is in Dayton, Ohio. That is where 9 people have been killed. At least 26 people are hurt after a shooting in a popular downtown area of the city there. No doubt this is not the way that we ever want to start our Sunday mornings here with you, but here we are once again. It is Sunday, August 4th, 2019. I'm Josh Sidorowitz. Let's get right to it. We actually have our reporter, Madison Alver. She's been in studio with us all morning. Madison, you're looking at the feeds, you're looking at social media. One thing we've learned in the past hour, unfortunately, there are more people hurt than we originally thought. Right?
Yeah, that's right, Josh. When we started this morning, initially we thought that number was 16, but it comes just 14 hours after a gunman opened fire in El Paso, Texas. Really a deadly weekend across the U.S., Josh. And
Madison, the shock barely wearing off from that incident, no doubt. And this morning in Texas, the 21-year-old man police say started shooting at that busy shopping center in El Paso is in custody. At least 20 people are dead following that attack. Even more are recovering from injuries. Chris Martinez, he's in El Paso where police say the accused shooter is talking to investigators. My goodness. You just heard from him there, Democratic presidential hopeful and El Paso native Beto O'Rourke. He is actually canceling his campaign events so he can return to El Paso and be there. President Trump, he has pledged the full support of the federal government to Texas. All right, let's bring in meteorologist Natalie Ferrari.
Good morning, everyone. Yeah.
He's bright and cheery and pink, which I think we could all use a little bit more.
I know, and I incorporated a little your own pink as well.
We try to do things.
Sometimes. A little pink palette. But hey, yesterday ended up being so picture perfect because we got all those showers out of the way, really for the first half of the day.
Yes, and what about today?
Similar.
Okay.
And the folks inland are probably saying, what are you talking about? We had a few storms linger a little longer. Away, you can look forward to your Sunday fun day plans coming up.
You got that right about the humidity, no doubt. Holy cow. All right, 8:06, let's get you in the know with a few other things that are making headlines here on your Sunday morning. 2 people deputies say were involved in a deadly hit and run in Pasco County have been caught. Deputies say the 2 were driving a stolen car when they ran a red light, hitting and killing a motorcyclist. This was on State Road 54 in Bruce B. Downs yesterday morning. Hours later, the duo led deputies on a chase into Hillsborough County where investigators say the driver took off, running into some woods. Both are behind bars here this morning. The parking garage at the Vinoy Resort in St. Pete will remain closed today after heavy rain caused some major flooding problems there. I mean, look at cars were still being towed out of the valet garage as of yesterday. This is now days after gallons of water rushed in there. Hotel management says it is working to accommodate all of the guests who've been impacted like this. All right, well, this isn't your perhaps typical LA police chase. Look at this. LAPD last night, they chased a man in a stolen car onto the sandy beaches of Playa del Rey. Look at, speeding right down the coast, right near the water, until eventually getting beached in some softer sand, and a vehicle certainly not built to be off-road. He jumped out of the car, had a beverage in hand.
Yes, he did.
And then ran straight to the ocean because what else are you going to do? Officers, though, did eventually wrestle him and arrest.
I can see the officers, too, just being like, no, we all have to jump in.
Yeah, really?
Here now.
Now we're wet. but also
you're not going far.
yeah, also maybe mildly entertained. Like, yeah, good luck, buddy. We'll be right here.
You take your time over there. We'll see you right here on the other side.
Not smart. Protests overnight take a turn. We saw businesses looted, buildings destroyed. We are live in Tampa this morning as several local black elected officials are calling on people to find another way to express their anger. It is Sunday, May 31st, 2020. And you are up on the bright side here on 10 Tampa Bay as we find ourselves once again on the other side of what was another uneasy night here across this country, right here at home. We are going to get to all of that in a moment. Bo Zimmer is live in Tampa, but first, I am Josh Sidorowitz. Good morning to you. Meteorologist Natalie Ferrari is forecasting from home. Peaceful protests turning destructive and violent overnight here in Tampa Bay and in cities across the country. Calls for justice continue after the death of George Floyd in police custody in Minneapolis. Now, most of the destruction was concentrated here in Tampa, where gunshots were fired at University Mall on Fowler Avenue. The Champs Sports across the street was set on fire. We saw several businesses being looted. Protesters also filled Nebraska Avenue, coming face to face with officers near the Tampa Police substation and Busch Gardens. So as the sun comes up here, we are getting a better look at the aftermath. 10 Tampa Bay's Bo Zimmer. He spent all night out there. He joins us live once again here this morning. Bo, I know that most of the crowds are gone at this point, if not all of them, but are we starting to see any people associated with these businesses coming back yet?
Yeah, we are, but also it's kind of like this community. You can see what we're going through right now. Josh?
And we know there are more demonstrations planned for today here in the area, and the question now is, where do we go from here, right? Bo, thanks for that look out there. Tampa City Councilman Orlando Goods, he summed it up this way. He said, "We have to live here tomorrow." He and other local black leaders, they issued a statement last night saying that they were, quote, deeply disturbed by what was happening, going on to say, "We understand the hurt, we understand the pain and the frustration that our protesters are feeling right now, but we must remember we have to live here tomorrow. We need to look at all methods of expressing our feelings and desires, not just destruction," end quote. They are also calling for the creation of a task force to address all violence in the city. Senator Darrell Rouson, who also signed this statement, he's going to join us here in our next half hour. We'll be able to talk more with him about this and what some of the next steps they hope will be. So stay tuned for that. On the other side of the bay, a much different night. Protests in St. Pete remain relatively peaceful. Police say that of the few dozen people who were walking around the streets near the police department, officers arrested one person. It was a man who apparently jumped up on a car near Williams Park. Police Chief Holloway, he said he had got no reports of injuries or property damage. Mayor Rick Kreisman, he praised the peaceful protests.
We think it's important that people have the opportunity and the right to speak their minds, but to do so in a peaceful manner. And so I'm appreciative of the protesters for the way in which they conducted themselves and doing so peacefully. I'm proud of our police officers for the professionalism that they displayed, and I'm proud of our community. This community steps up and looks out for each other and takes care of each other, and we care about each other here in St. Petersburg, and I think that was evident.
Police Chief Holloway says his officers have special training to respond to protests that get out of hand. He says the department will continue to monitor demonstrations planned for the rest of the weekend. We also have Pinellas County Sheriff Bob Galtieri, who will be joining us here in about 5 minutes live on the air as well. Now, it is important to remember how we got to this point. Here's 10 Tampa Bay's Candace Aviles with the timeline. And former Officer Chauvin is also facing second-degree manslaughter charges along with those third-degree murder charges. So let's take a deeper dive here as far as what those mean and the sentence that they can carry, because third-degree murder is different from first and second degree. First and second-degree murder, that means prosecutors have to prove he intended to kill George Floyd. According to Minnesota law, third-degree murder does not require proving an intent to kill. Rather, prosecutors would only need to show that Chauvin caused Floyd's death through a dangerous act, quote, without regard for human life. Now, for second-degree manslaughter, prosecutors would need to show he was negligent, created an unreasonable risk, and consciously took the chance that his actions would cause Floyd to be seriously hurt or killed. In Minnesota, the max sentence for third-degree murder is 25 years. Second-degree manslaughter, that carries a maximum of 10 years. So Chauvin is facing up to 35 years for both of those charges. We've got new details this morning on the plans for George Floyd's funeral. His body will be brought to his hometown of Houston, Texas from Minneapolis. That's according to the mayor. The funeral will be held in Fort Bend County, but specific details on the ceremony have not yet been released. And keep your free 10 Tampa Bay app handy because, as we did last night, we'll continue to do today. We'll be following the response to George Floyd's death. Any updates that we get, we will send a push alert to your phone. All right, it's been a lot here this morning, so we are going to take a breath. We'll be right back on the flip side, but first, here's your moment of Zen from Lakeland.